square there, which is a plaque that was put up some time ago by the Club Lotus to commemorate the achievement and life of Colin Chapman. So yes, I had found the site, and I could match it up with an old photograph of the factory itself. That was the showroom. So you can see Dewson's and Lotus, they're in the same building. It looks remarkably similar. So Stan Chapman had the pub, and his son Colin Chapman went to a local school, the Stationers' Company School, and he is actually down there. That's young Colin Chapman. And on the internet you can actually download, if you're interested enough, his school report for 1938, which says he was awfully good at arithmetic. He was 98. The class average was only 65. So he's rather outstanding at arithmetic. The Stationers' School is no more. It's been demolished, and there's a very nice park there, which many of you will probably know. And this is probably the only bit of the school that's left, this brick wall here. The rest has been turned into a community centre. Carrying further on, you probably all know this building here, Hornsey Town Hall. Its connection with Chapman is romantic. Stan Chapman, his father, had a contract to do catering for functions in the hall, and Colin used to go along, deliver the pies, and then sneak into the dances without paying. And it was there that he met Hazel Williams, who was to become his wife. Hazel lived on Alexander Park Road, which is there, in the house which is still there. It's a very attractive, solid, big house. And Hazel, as you will see from later photographs, was an extremely attractive woman, but it didn't hurt that her father had a lock-up garage behind the house, and Colin Chapman was able to use that to build his first car. A great deal of assistance from Hazel, which was rather nice. And that was the first car that they built together. It has been called the Lotus Mark I, but I don't think that's accurate, really. It wasn't ever called anything. And somewhat later photograph showing it to better advantage. So that was the car that they built in the lockup there. When Colin was driving around the area, he was going along Balance Road, and he noticed a couple of young men working on a car. And he went across to speak to them, and managed to persuade them that not just working on their car, but the thing to do really in life was to build racing cars. So he managed to persuade them to let him move into their garage, and they helped him build a series of racing cars which were extremely successful. As the Lotus Mark III, and there you can see Hazel was an extremely attractive woman, and very good driver apparently. There was a certain amount of competition between Chapman and Hazel as to who was a better driver. So they built the Mark III in the garage at Valence Road. The house is still there. Even the trees are similar, grown up a bit, but the same trees are there. I'm not sure which garage was involved there. It may have been this one, but I think it's more likely to be this one, which is a bit bigger. So having constructed a few Mark IIIs there and raced them successfully, they started getting orders, and they just didn't have enough room in this garage. Colin Chapman persuaded his father Stan to let them use a stable block at the side of the railway hotel, and they set up the Lotus Engineering Company there. I think it was at 1952, I think the Lotus Company actually was incorporated. The same building is there. They have installed a room above, but all the doors on the original photograph are still there and could actually be opened up again to when the museum gets going. This I find a very creepy photograph. That's Colin Chapman standing outside the railway, and this is the side of the railway hotel there. And he's just collected a chassis from some colleagues who built them a little further away. We could walk the chassis around. And I have stood on this spot, and I find it very, very creepy. The actual spot where that photograph was taken. So they built a number of different models of Lotus cars in these premises. And this is a diagram of roughly how it was laid out. There was an office showroom. The assembly, there's Williams and Pritchard who did bodywork for various things, a gearbox shop, and at the back there was a workshop. It is all still there. This is the site as it is today. So that block that you saw earlier with Jewson's on the front is there. These are the workshops where they assembled cars, and this is a separate workshop on the site. And there's this that we hope to use as the premises for the Colin Chapman Museum and Education Centre. There they produced a number of iconic is overused, but extremely well-known, sought-after, lovely cars. Six. The 7, which everybody knows, even from the prisoner, Patrick McGurn, used to drive around in car on 101. Lotus 7 is still produced by Caterham Cars today. And moving into Formula 1 Grand Prix racing. And this is where Lotus split into two, really. They were moved, split into two directions. On one hand, there was racing cars and on Formula 1. On the other, they started moving into production cars, ones with heaters and rainproofing. So what I would call GT cars. But all the cars that were produced in Hornsey, next to the railway hotel, they was extremely successful, and Colin Chapman was the man who really put motorsport on the map as far as Britain was concerned. He was so successful, and the continued expansion of the construction of cars. Eventually they had to move out of the Hornsey factory, but during that period in the 50s, Chapman really was responsible for putting Britain on the map as far as motorsport was concerned. This is my favourite picture of Colin Chapman. So he really looks as if he's happy there. So a lot of